Uh, this Walking the Path is coming to you live from Santa Cruz, Costa Rica, at the living room of my auto mechanic's house. That's right. That's why you got to just roll with it sometimes. Sometimes you just need to roll with it. Hey, everybody, thank you for joining. Thank you for coming in. So I'm coming to you from my mechanic's living room. The shop is behind me, and he lives behind the shop. And I came this morning to get something fixed on the car. It was supposed to be just something quick, and it wasn't so quick. And so here I am. I said, hey, do you have a place where I could have a private meeting? He said, yeah, my living room. So his wife was making lunch, and she stopped so that I could do this Facebook Live. Is that not amazing? And so the title of this Facebook Live is, you just got to roll with it. You just got to roll with it, whether we're in life, which is just a big ceremony, or in ceremony, right? Ceremony in the Maloka, when you're at rythmia, in ceremony, when you're in life, which is a big ceremony, you just got to roll with it. What does that mean? It means that whatever's being brought to us, we have to accept that it's for us. That is the spiritual principle. The spiritual principle says life is for us. Life is happening for us. And whatever is happening for us. Sometimes it doesn't seem that way. Sometimes it doesn't seem, how could this be for me? If you're hearing noise in the background, he's working on my car. So even when it doesn't seem that life is for us, something is there for us. Even when ceremony is so hard, it's like, how could this be good? We have to open up. That's what we say in ceremony is, if the medicine is hard, you're having a hard time, you open up and you say, welcome, welcome, Mother. I know this is good for me. When you purge, you say, thank you, this is good for me. We have to say that in life, because the one truth is, in ceremony, we know the medicine only wants our best. The medicine is there to heal us. And we know that spirit in life, spirit only wants the best. Spirit is there to heal us. So this is where we get to lean into spirit. I love you too, Andy. This is where we get to lean into spirit and trust that no matter what's happening, we're going to get through it. No matter what's happening, there's a way. There's a spiritual verse that says, I shall do a new thing. Shall ye not have eyes to see and ears to hear? I will make a way in the desert and rivers in the wilderness. A way in the desert and rivers in the wilderness. I'm sorry, a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Rivers in the desert. A river in the desert, it seems impossible. But the Spirit of God, there's nothing too big for the Spirit of God. There's nothing too big for our consciousness. Nothing is outside of God. There's another spiritual principle. There's no outside of God. God is omniscient, omnipotent, omniactive, omnipresent. Therefore, everything is happening for us, because every activity is the activity of God. If I can't see it, I have to say, give me eyes to see and ears to hear. This is eyes to see beyond what the eyes can see, ears to hear beyond what the ears can hear. We must have discernment. What is discernment? Discernment is perception without judgment. Discernment is perception without judgment. Can I perceive the truth without judging it? The only way I can perceive the truth is to not judge it. The only way I can see truth is without judgment. Ram Dass says, if you want to know the truth, give up your opinions. And so our spiritual discernment is perception beyond judgment. Should give me eyes to see and ears to hear. Thank you, Leslie. Leslie says 100. Leslie, I'm with you. So this is the truth that we have to roll with it, because spirit is with us. Spirit is with you. Spirit is with me, no matter what the appearances are. We can't get caught up in appearances. We have to say, I know there's something good here. No matter what the appearances are, there's something good. Hi, Cousin Donna. Good to see you. And how do we apply this to our lives when the shift hits the fan? We can apply it to our lives, but let's apply it to life, what's happening in the world right now. No matter where you stand pro-Israel, pro-Palestinian. I'm pro-peace. I'm pro-peace. And at some point we have to say, God is on the field. God is all there is. God is on the field because God is the field. There's something good seeking to emerge, no matter what the appearances are. I have to give me eyes to see the good here. There has to be some good here. We have to look to spiritual luminaries like Nelson Mandela, who show us the way when things seem insurmountable, when conditions seem like it's impossible for them to change. Nelson Mandela was in jail for 27 years. And when he was in prison, one of the tasks that he had to do was to break rocks. Excuse me. With a sledgehammer, with a to break rocks. And when he would get a minute, when the guards weren't looking, his buddies and he would take the smaller rocks, and on the bigger rock, they would start lining out what a government would look like. What would the government that they want to see look like? In the middle of no possibility. Apartheid seemed impossible to overcome. There can't be any, where's good? Where you'd say, where's the good here? I'm in prison 27 years away from my family. They're torturing me. And yet, in the midst of sick condition and circumstance, he had eyes to see and ears to hear. He was looking for what is possible. He was holding the frequency of what is possible. We have to hold the frequency of what is possible in our lives. When things are not going our way in our lives and it seems impossible, how can this be good? How can being sick be good? How can being out of money be good? How can being hurt by a loved one or being alone be good? In those moments, we have to say, there's something good here. Let me see it. Let me start designing the future that I want to see. Let's design the future we want to see in the Middle East, in the middle of this catastrophe that's going on. We can say, I want to see a world of peace. I want to see a world in the middle of the division that we see in the United States and all the uncertainty of what's going to happen in the 2024 elections. We have to say, I want to see peace. I want to see people who can disagree with each other and be okay with it and not be violent towards each other. I want to see people that can talk to each other and hear the other side of the story and work together, because we all fundamentally want the same thing. We want safe places for our kids. We want to be able to have a roof over our heads and food to eat and clean water and safe cities. We want everybody to be able to have abundance and prosperity. We want abundance and prosperity for ourselves. What world do you want to see? This is where we have to lean into spirit. There's nothing too big for God, even when it seems impossible. We have to be the ones breaking the rocks and designing the life, the world that we want to see, even when it seems impossible. There's nothing too big for spirit. We've got to roll with it. We've got to roll with it because God is rolling with us. There's nothing outside of this presence. We have to stay in that vibrational frequency. So when we do, we open our eyes and see beyond, but we have to see it beyond judgment. We have to see it beyond opinion. When we talk about the Middle East or the Ukraine or what's going on in the Congo or what's going on in Sudan, we can have all sorts of opinions and judgments and know the history. And I could argue one side and I could argue the other side, but that gets us nowhere, hasn't gotten us anywhere. That's opinion and judgment. When I'm stuck in a perspective, I'm stuck in judgment. I have to see beyond opinion and judgment. Reverend Michael told a very powerful story of this with Nelson Mandela again. When he was inaugurated as president, the man who was his torturer for 27 years was sitting next to him at the inauguration. This was the man that urinated on him when he was they would bury him up. This is the story Reverend Michael told. They would bury him up to his neck in the earth, and all that would be sitting above the earth would be his head. And he would be thirsty and he would ask this guy for something to drink, and the guy would urinate on him. He had that guy sitting next to him at the inauguration because he said his opinion and judgment could be very clear. That was wrong what that guy did. But now Mandela was building a government on something other than retribution and revenge. He was building it on reconciliation. So in these moments, we have to look to luminaries like Nelson Mandela, like Martin Luther King Jr., who wouldn't let his people march if they were angry. They had trainings. And if you were to go out and march and put yourself up to be beaten in a seemingly intractable situation like Jim Crow, you couldn't go out there if you were going to be reactive. They trained you to non-react, to be peaceful, no matter what the circumstance. If you couldn't do that, you had to do work in the back. You couldn't go out into the field. You had to bring peace. We have to bring what we are wanting to see in the world. We have to find it in ourselves. We've got to roll with whatever situation is in front of us. When we're in the middle of a storm that seems like it's life-threatening, we don't say, God, get me out of the storm. We say, life, what are you asking of me? What is seeking to emerge? What must I become in order to see the peace, in order to see the abundance, in order to see the health, in order to see the healing, in order to see the joy, in order to see whatever it is that we are wanting to see other than this situation? We have to bring it in the midst of circumstance and condition. Perception or discernment is perception without judgment. The minute I judge my ceremony as bad, I'm nauseous, I'm sick, this isn't good, all I'm doing is purging, how could this be good? The minute I judge my situation is bad, my car's in the shop, I can't do my Facebook Live, what am I going to do? And it's not cheap to get the car fixed either, I'm just saying, right? So the minute I judge it as bad, I'm in perception and I'm not discerning. And when I'm not discerning, I limit my possibilities and potentialities, because from a point of view, if I'm at one particular point of view, I'm eliminating other points of view. The only way out is to ask what's being asked of me. What must I become in order to overcome this situation? Leslie says, I've learned that a lot with the way the world is now. I sit in polarity a lot. Perfect, Leslie. Yes. I can't be, man, do I want to express my opinions about whether, politics in the United States or what's going on in Israel and Palestine or in any number of situations. But that perspective, that opinion isn't overcoming it. It's locking me in and causing more polarity. We must see what's impossible. We have to see beyond circumstance. Eyes to see and ears to hear. If we have but faith, if we have but eyes to see and ears to hear, the presence of the Spirit will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert if we only have that trust and faith. And it's hard. It's not easy. So that's why we look to people who overcame insurmountable odds like Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King Jr. and Mother Teresa and Gandhi. And look at all the luminaries. Meister Eckhart. Meister Eckhart was a Dominican friar who Eckhart Tolle changed his name to Eckhart in honor of Meister Eckhart. So for 1500s, Meister Eckhart, if you read his writings, they sound like Deepak Chopra was writing them, like modern day mystic. But this is from the 1500s. He was he died before they could take him to the Inquisition, but he was on his way to the Inquisition. He is another luminary that we can look to see. He was asking, what must I become in the face of insurmountable odds? So that's the Facebook Live today. I had to make it short because they're fixing my car and back. Thank you to Mr. Cabrero for allowing me to come to his living room, and thank you to his wife to stop cooking lunch while I could do the Facebook Live. So this is our Facebook Live, our Instagram Live, our YouTube Live. Thank you. Thank you, Hadia. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone that joined over here, sending you richest blessings. We got to roll with it because there's nothing too big for spirit. And when we roll with it, we'll have eyes to see beyond the circumstance and ears to hear beyond the circumstance. We'll be receiving downloads, insights, wisdom, new direction, and a new way will emerge where no way was seen before. And so it is. Many blessings. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you all. Peace and richest blessings.